I have spent years making hundreds of videos about personal finance and have talked with thousands of you about your personal finances. And these are the 5 financial habits that I see holding a lot of people back. Huge thank you to Credit One Bank for sponsoring today's video, but more on that in a second. First of all, and perhaps most obviously, is not following a budget. Now, I understand that budgets are not for everyone, and a lot of people feel that a budget is too restrictive or too structured and just doesn't work for them. And my argument to that would be maybe you need to try a different budgeting method. Now, this video is not about budgeting or how to budget, but as you probably know, there are a ton of different budgeting methods and apps out there nowadays. So if you want a full breakdown of exactly how I do my own budget, then I'll reference you to this video that I made not too long ago. But at the very least, you need to understand how much money is coming in, and more importantly, how much money is actually going out and where it's going. As I frequently say, you can go broke at any level, meaning even if you have a huge income, you can still be living paycheck to paycheck. And there is widespread data, especially here in the US, that supports that notion. Now, as an additional point to that, budgeting will also help you avoid those impulse purchases that we are all guilty of that probably don't feel like that big of a deal in the moment, but over a long period of time can really start to add up. All right, but bad habit number 2 is not building your credit score. I will say from the start of this one that you absolutely can go through life just fine without a credit score, and I am not here to argue which one is right for you and whether or not you need to be building a credit score for your financial life. However, not having a credit score will require you to jump through some extra hoops when it comes time to do things like get a mortgage or rent a car or other random things like that that are a little bit more complicated if you don't have a credit score. So just be aware of that. But even just by opening one simple line of credit and of course using it and paying it off responsibly, you can pretty quickly build a great credit score, and that means lower interest rates when it comes time to borrow money, which ultimately can save you tens of thousands of dollars when you're talking about borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house, for example. So don't overcomplicate this one too much, and if you are looking to add a new credit card or line of credit to your wallet, then that's where today's video sponsor, Credit One, can help you. Now, Credit One Bank has a ton of awesome products, including a number of credit card options, but one of my favorites right now is the Platinum X5 Visa card, which, in addition to all of the benefits of building your credit score that we just discussed, also offers you 5% cash back on your first $5,000 of eligible purchases, plus 1% unlimited cash back on all other purchases. Credit One has been booming in popularity recently with 4.7 stars and over 1.3 million reviews on the iOS App Store alone. They offer an incredibly clean and modern mobile app, allowing you to monitor your credit score for free, manage your different credit cards and accounts right from your smartphone or even smartwatch, and even set up custom widgets to always stay up to date on your accounts at a glance. So if you want to check out the Platinum X5 Visa card from Credit One Bank or any of the other financial products that they offer, then I will leave a link for that down in the description box below. Thank you so much to Credit One for sponsoring today's video. Now let's talk about bad habit number 3, which is using debt irresponsibly. I think this is an important one to talk about given the fact that the last habit was building your credit score, and that's because there is a good way to build your credit and there are 1,000 horrible ways to build your credit, and it all has to do with how you handle debt. Now, I personally would put myself in a pretty anti-debt category, so just be aware of that from the start. But with the exception of my mortgage, which I and my wife are working like maniacs to pay off early, I do not carry any debt to my name. My wife and I paid off our student loans as fast as we could, we purchased our only vehicle in cash, and we have never paid a penny in interest to any credit card company, despite the fact that we have a lot of credit cards. But with all of that being said, I also realize that I say all of those things from an incredible place of privilege, and that is just not a reality for a lot of people, and I completely understand that. All of those examples that I just listed are a real debt for millions of people. So what's important is that you know how to use debt responsibly, because if you don't, it will be much harder to get ahead financially. Now, there are a lot of strategies and opinions when it comes to paying off your debt, so definitely do your own research and find something that works for you, but my recommendation is always to avoid consumer debt, which includes things like carrying a balance on your credit card or financing a car. And if you have those types of debts already, then don't worry, you are not alone, but come up with a plan to pay them off as aggressively as possible, because trust me, not only will you be better off financially in the long term, but you will just sleep way better at night knowing that you don't owe anyone anything. And if you can do that one simple habit, then you will be better off than 90% of the people around you, because especially here in the US, debt is easily the most common bad financial habit that is holding people back from building immense amounts of wealth. All right, number 4 might sound a bit odd at first, but it absolutely relates to this discussion, and that is the bad habit of not caring about your health. Now, I don't know if it's obvious on camera, but I'm not exactly the spitting image of peak physical physique. But when I say you want to care about your health, obviously that includes your physical health, but also your emotional, spiritual, mental, and financial health as well. These are all thankfully things that are more widely talked about in our society today, which I think is great, even just compared to a few years ago. And you may feel that none of this has anything to do with your finances, but number 1, you will make better decisions in general and likely earn more money if you are physically and mentally healthy. And number 2, once you are able to build large amounts of wealth, I want you to be able to enjoy that wealth for decades and decades. But all of the money in the world means nothing if you aren't able to enjoy the fruits of your labor because you didn't take care of your own health. So again, I'm definitely not your guy when it comes to exercise motivation, but if you've been feeling anxious and overwhelmed recently, maybe just go talk to somebody. If you've been feeling down on yourself physically like I often do, then look for simple and easy ways that you can be more active in your day-to-day life. And just put one foot in front of the other and try to be 1% better than you were the day before. And trust me, you will be way better off financially, even if you think that none of this has anything to do with money. All right, and last but not least, and I know this is a huge bad habit that a lot of people end up regretting later in life, but bad habit number 5 would be not investing today. The best time to start investing was 100 years ago, but the second best time to start investing is right now. You've probably heard it a million times before, and I myself have talked about it at length on this channel, but the biggest variable when it comes to investing and building long-term wealth in general is time. That long-term, boring investing strategy does have the most proven long-term track record, but you're looking at decades of consistent, boring investing before you start to see any exponential growth. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just do a quick Google search for compound interest calculator and start playing around with some numbers in there, and you'll see that even just pushing off your investing a few years could equate to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in lost portfolio value. There are a ton of great tools out there nowadays that can help you get started with your investing today, but if this is another one of those things that you've just been kicking down the road, just set the time aside and do it. You will thank me later. And more importantly, your future self will thank you for making this smart financial decision today. But there you have it. Those are the 5 financial habits that I see most commonly holding people back. But let me know if you feel I left anything off of this list and what habits you are working on to improve your financial life. Again, I want to say a huge thank you to Credit One Bank for sponsoring today's video. And if you want to start building your credit history today and get the Platinum X5 Visa card or check out any of Credit One's other products, then I will link to that down in the description as well. As always, thank you so much for your time. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.